I walked over to him and I said, "Oh my God, you're amazing." And he was doing this thing called a simulcast where they would record a message and send it out across campus. And I was enamored with him. And so I said, "Oh my God, is this something you do?" Like, I've been speaking all my life. Some people called it crying. I called it communicating. I was in forensics and I had been in Toastmasters and speech class. And I said, "May I have your autograph?" And he said, "No." And I was like,
Welcome to the Visibility Room, on air and off script. Hey, everybody. It's Karyl Morris from the Image Impact Group and the Visibility Room, on air and off script. And I'm already cracking up because I have with me today one of my favorite people, Mimi Brown, international speaker extraordinaire.
Yay, that feels good to say. Like,
doesn't it? It feels good to hear. Heck yeah. Well, Mimi, thank you for coming and joining us today. And I want you to just give the world kind of the 411 on Mimi.
The 411. I'm taking it back to the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. Showing my age. Just do it, girl.
So where do you want me to start, Karyl?
I want you to start with why speaking, who your favorite audience is, and maybe even who should be hiring you.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. So I love the intro story of how I got started. When I was 19, I was running camera at my college TV station, WKAR, and there was a motivational speaker. And I was so mesmerized by him that I dropped the camera. And after I got yelled at and then eventually fired.
Yeah.
I walked over to him and I said, "Oh my God, you're amazing." And he was doing this thing called a simulcast where they would record a message and send it out across campus. And I was enamored with him. And so I said, "Oh my God, is this something you do?" Like, I've been speaking all my life. Some people called it crying. I called it communicating. I was in forensics and I had been in Toastmasters and speech class. And I said, "May I have your autograph?" And he said, "No." And I was like, And he said, "I want your autograph because you're going to do this one day."
Oh, boom.
Yeah, he said definitely
cool.
planted the seed for me. And it's one of the reasons I'm a speaker today.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And the other thing I really love is the fact that you have a book coming out.
Yes!
So I know that you've had these great small tip books throughout the last, good handful of years, because you actually encouraged me to do one.
I have your tip book I was looking at the other day.
And now it's a full-blown book,
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, we're going to get into that. But first, I have 5 rapid fire questions for you.
Ooh.
Mimi Brown, are you ready?
I am ready, Karyl.
Okay. And then I've got more questions because I kind of feel like we went off track, but that's what it's all about, off script, right?
Right, off script,
I put that
on
in
air.
because I have that latitude. All right, first impressions. What do you want others to think of you?
Ooh, I want them to think how powerful and kind I am.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Favorite way to connect, in person or digitally?
100% in person. I am such I want to feel you, and not in a creepy way, but I want to feel your energy, feel your vibe. That's important to me.
All right, excellent. And what builds credibility faster, expertise, presence, or consistency?
Ooh, Karyl, that's a hard one.
I know
So consistency, presence, or
expertise.
I'm going to have to say a mix, because that's who I am, of consistency and presence.
Okay.
Yes, because the way you show up and people look for that continuously, but also it's the way you carry yourself.
Yes.
And people, Maya Angelou said it's not people don't always remember what you say or what you do, but the way that you make them feel.
Yes, absolutely. Love it. Okay. What's a trust killer that you often see?
Not doing what you say you're going to do. Not following up. And sometimes it's the really small things.
Yeah.
And when I'm coaching leaders, I'll say that to them. Like, "Hey, did one of your staff members say, I need help getting X, Y, or Z or getting time off?
Yeah.
And did you blow it off because it wasn't a big deal? Or did you follow through on what you say you're going to do?"
Oh, I love that. Okay. Last one. What's a leadership lesson that stuck with you?
Ooh, so I remember I had a leader. He actually dedicated my first book to him. His name is Mark Townsend. He's since passed away. But Mark was a pistol. And one of the things that he taught me earlier on is always protect your people.
Okay.
He was like the umbrella for folks. So he would let all the crap, he would say, rain down on him, and he would take it on and protect his folks. And Mark he was a tough guy.
Yeah.
People, if you were on the other side of him, you didn't want to be on that side. But everyone who worked for him loved him because you felt loved, you felt supported, you felt like he had your back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people want, is for you to genuinely have a relationship and connection with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So this kind of goes into, who do you love speaking to? What are the companies? What are the organizations that feel the best for you?
Yeah. So my favorite audiences are women's audiences, like women's leadership development, my jam, because most of my executive coaching clients have been in that space.
Yeah.
My background is in utility. So I love like male dominated industries where women shine. So like utilities, construction, technology. Those are my jams. But
awesome.
I just feel like the audiences that most resonate with me are the ones who laugh at my jokes.
Oh, yeah. You're hilarious. And I will tell you that for those of you watching or listening, I met Mimi through the National Speakers Association, and she made me feel welcome immediately. I am not a joiner by nature.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, but I felt like it was a space that I wanted to be in. So thank you for that. I do want to say thank you for that. And we've just become great friends throughout the years.
Yes, you can't get rid of me. I know you try.
I keep trying. I keep trying.
You're like,
but all right. So women's audiences, male dominated field. What are your top 3 keynotes that you deliver?
Yeah. So my favorite is my newest one, which is connected to the book, which is Lead at Full Volume. I have another one called Undeniable Influence, so teaching people how to be influential, and not in the way that you think, like it's more core.
Yeah.
And then the other is my signature, which is Own Your Swag.
Yes. Love it. And what do you think, when you look back at the conversations that happen after those presentations, what are people saying? What are I don't know. What's the top thing that people come and say, my God, I just didn't even realize?
It's the aha moments of, and I often remind people, I'm probably not telling you something you don't already know.
Yeah.
I'm just reminding you of where you need to take action.
Ooh.
And where you may have gotten stuck. And my job is to help you like get unstuck in that moment.
Yeah.
And so one of the promises that I make to every one of my audiences, and I make them pinky swear, is because I make a promise to them, but I also want them to make a promise to themselves.
Yeah.
That if they hear that nugget, that one thing that's just itching at them, that they are like, ooh, that was what I came for.
Yeah.
Write it down and make a plan to take action on it. Because it's wonderful what happens in a 45 or a 60-minute keynote, but the magic is what happens when you walk out of that room.
I love that. And I want to kind of dial it back for a minute and talk to you about, how has visibility been beneficial to you? Because that's part of presence.
Yes.
And that's part of having the confidence to move forward in situations. What does that look like for you?
So visibility in my world has actually helped me get speaking engagements.
Yeah.
Because when people see you doing your thing, like speaking is one of those, like I like to call it a contact sport. You can't go read about it. Like you have to actually go do it.
Yeah.
And when people see it and experience it, they hear about the impact that I'm making with my audiences. They're like, ooh, I want some of that.
Yeah.
So I get invited in that way. But it's, I used to, and Karyl, you know this, I used to do what I call hide in plain sight. Like I would say, hi.
Yeah.
And I'm so outgoing, but I still had a block or a barrier there. But now I'm just really open, and I owe a lot of that to you.
Aw, well,
Yeah.
thank you. Now I'm getting verklempt.
Touch my pearls.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I want to move on to this book because I'm super excited. You mentioned the name of it because it's also the name of your keynote, but tell it to us again.
Yes. So Lead at Full Volume, the 10 beats to amplify your presence, confidence, and influence.
All right, let's talk about the 10 beats because I know there's something in there.
Yeah. So when I was 16 years old, I was an on-air personality on my high school radio station. And I started off as DJ Flawless, which was a very unfortunate name. And if you read the book, you'll learn about it. But then I transitioned to DJ Candy because I was sweet.
Yeah.
But I learned about the power of music and how music moves people and how a really good song can have a visceral reaction, can take you back to a moment in time or a place. And I think I wanted to give people those same kind of beats that they can mix to in their own leadership in life.
Yeah. And if I remember our conversation correctly, I think there's something kind of cool and unique within your book, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
You absolutely can say
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So Spill the beans.
Yes. So because I have a background as a DJ, and actually the new keynote will have elements of DJing in it. So I actually bring a turntable on stage and mix music as a part of the whole like experience. I want people to have the Mimi Brown experience. I've actually created a playlist. So each chapter is dedicated to a different beat. And then each beat has songs that are associated with that particular chapter. So just something that you can listen to that gets you in the right mindset. And then all of the artists featured in the book are women empowerment songs or artists.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I just think that's so cool and unique and different that I think talk about visibility, right?
Yeah.
It takes the visibility from the pages to your listening, to your ears.
And when you're
that's really
activating
cool.
those different senses, I think it also helps click in for you. If you're like me with ADHD, you might get a little distracted. You're like, oh, where was I in the book? Because I'm jamming to some Beyonce. But then you can get back on track.
Exactly. So let's talk about the title, Lead at Full Volume. What does that look like? What does that mean?
So sometimes when people think of volume, because I have been accused of being a little loud, but it's not about the loudness itself. It's about the presence that you walk into a room with and the presence of who you are. And that's what I want people to lead with is turn up the volume on who you are as a person and stand into that and stand in that authentically. And so many, like, all the chapters in the book around things like you're creating the vision for yourself, being able to communicate your value, creating the boundaries that help you show up in the best way are all ways to help you turn up the volume on who you are.
I think that's so cool. And it's such a unique way, and again, a spin on it. Going back to the music part of it, how did you determine what music to put with what chapter?
Ooh, it
what
was
that
really
process?
hard. So having been a DJ for a long time and loving so many different genres of music, I had to narrow it down. One is I wanted it to, because the book is definitely written for women.
Yeah.
Men can definitely benefit from it too, but I wrote it for a younger version of myself. Something that I needed to hear when I was just getting started or even mid-career where I was like toughing it out in corporate America and I needed to be reminded of who I was. And so as I went through, I wanted each of the songs to represent that particular theme. So if we're talking about boundaries, I wanted songs that were associated with that. If we're talking about vision, I wanted a song that was associated with that.
Wow. How long did it take you to build that out?
Forever. Because I kept changing it and going back and forth and was like, but I don't like that one anymore. Or I really want this one. Or trying to even make sure I balance the artist because maybe an artist had quite a few more songs than others. So to make sure the mix was good.
Yeah, that's so cool. I cannot wait. And I don't know. We'll talk about this too in a bit. But I'm so excited for you and I'm proud of you. And I get a little emotional because it's exciting. It's been so fun to watch your journey. You know, I knew the day I met you that I met a powerhouse. Aww. And then just to see, and she's international, people. This is an international
I just got a call to do
superstar.
something in Mexico City, so I'm super excited.
Get out.
For one of my other clients. But and it happens. Like I just came back from Europe and did some speaking there. So, and represented the US, which is super cool.
Oh, and by the way, you did a TED Talk in
New Zealand.
New Zealand, because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I? I was there. I was like, you know what? I'm over here. I'll just give a TED Talk. It was super cool.
That's so cool.
And the Kiwi people are amazing. And they laughed at my jokes. I don't know. Let me tell you a quick short story and you'll clap. So I'm giving this TED Talk. And I'm talking about the power of calling someone by their correctly pronounced and preferred name. And so I tell a story about how this woman introduces me before a keynote as Mimi. My name is Mimi. It is one syllable and it repeats. And so I'm like, it can't be that hard. And then I was imagining folks who have maybe more challenging names for people to pronounce what they go through. Yeah. And so the Kiwis, when I say Mimi, they are cracking up. And I'm like, I am hilarious until I get off stage.
Oh, no.
And I'm in the green room and one of the gentlemen in the back said, hey, you know why they were laughing so hard? I said, no. He said, because Mimi in Maori, which is their indigenous language, means to pee. So I am P.P. Brown. Thank you. Yep. P.P. Brown here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mimi, only you. Oh, Mimi.
Oh, Mimi.
Oh, Mimi. Oh my God.
I thought I could tell you would appreciate that.
I do
girl.
appreciate that. That's hilarious. All right. So you've been around the world. You've been on big stages. You've represented the stage at National Speakers Association, which is amazing. You are what we call a CSP. take us through what that actually means?
So certified speaking professional. So less than 17% of speakers around the world have that designation.
Yes.
And it's a heavy lift because you have, out of 10 years of speaking, 5 out of the 10 years, you have to hit a certain dollar amount in earnings. You also have to deliver at least 250 presentations. Wow. They identify 20 random clients out of that list and call them and say, how did she do?
Yeah.
And then you have to submit a video that's unedited that is then judged by your peers who already have the designation. And then you wait on pins and needles for them to say, Mimi Brown,
yes,
CSP.
Yes. And then you walk across the stage
and
you
get
grab
your medal.
That thing. Yes. We were happy to be able to see that. All right. So another question on the book, and I know I keep going back and forth, but there's just so many different things to talk about. But going back to the fact that you've done these smaller tip books, right? And I remember I said, oh, I just wrote a little tip book. And you're like, do not say that. So I'm purposely saying small, not little.
Yes.
And they're not throwaways. They're actually credibility pieces
they have
that are
ISBN numbers. They're actual books.
Yeah, they're credibility pieces that are really strong. But what inspired you to do this book right now?
So this book was in the making probably about 5 years ago. And my mentor, who you can't see it on camera, but I have a tattoo that's in her honor. So it is a light bulb and it was her logo. Her name was Chris Clark Epstein. And Chris wanted to be the light in people's life, and she was a light in mine. Aww. And she gave me my voice when it came to writing, because I had a lot of blocks around writing, and I didn't think I could do it. And Chris just kept encouraging me and pushing me and shoving me in that direction. And the book is actually dedicated in her honor.
Oh,
and
awesome.
One of the things that was important is, as I have been, speaking for a number of years and coaching clients, many of their experiences were themes that kept coming back up. And I said, well, I want to go out and share with people in a very practical way how you can work through some of those things. Yeah. And so the way the book is organized is it has several stories. Someone very special is featured in one of the stories that I love. And but then I also give 3 kind of, in every chapter, there's 3 follow-ups. So power moves, so steps and actions you can take to apply it. Belief remixes. So do I need to remix the way I'm thinking about this, right? And then lastly is questions to ponder. So to help me continue to keep the learning going or to push myself further, asking myself how those things apply to in my world.
I love that. So not only do we get stories, we get music, we get practicality, we get strategy, we get tips.
Yes.
That's pretty all encompassing, my friend.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And the book really wrote itself. Like I just kept pouring into it. And pulling other people's stories or examples in. And when I put, pen to paper or fingers to keyboard,
right? Yeah.
Or voice to text, I've done it all.
Yeah.
It just really came alive on its own.
I love that. So the minute you sat down to the minute you finished it, how long did it take?
So if I'm being frank, my name is Mimi, but if my name was Frank, it would take, probably 5 years in the making, but when I really set my behind in a seat, about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine that.
You can do it.
There's a lot. I love to talk. I do not love to write, as we've had that conversation before, which is why I am doing this right now.
Yes. And there are ways that you can work around that, like voice to text. And I've had some great coaches. So I had a book coach I hired. So shout out to Greg Odette, who really helped bring my voice out and edited and challenged me a lot and drove me crazy. I love you, Greg. Yeah. But really in a good way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how is someone's leadership impacted when they decide to be full volume? What does that look like? And actually, I would love this. If you have an example of a client or a person that you have watched that happen to, I would love that story.
Well, I can think of one person in particular, and I feature her in the book. And I remember when she came to my desk. This is when I was still working in corporate America, and she was really frustrated. She was in this entry-level HR position, wasn't seeing any traction, had tons of education. She had more letters than a triple word score in Scrabble. She's pretty incredible, but she was missing this piece. And I gave her a couple of assignments. And one was she created a vision board, right? So she got kind of clear on where she wanted to go. But then she also started this gratitude practice. And every day, and this was her assignment, for 30 days, she had to find one thing every day that she was grateful for.
Oh.
And I said, the rules are that it can't be something that you repeat, and and you need to make sure you write it down every day. And so I said, some days it was, I didn't murder anyone at work.
Yeah.
Right. Or I did not let the air out of my boss's tire.
Right.
Kidding.
Right.
But she found things to be grateful for. And so as she found things to be grateful for, more things to be grateful for showed up. And then it was an incredible experience. Because one of the things that she said is, I want to be the director of diversity. And she had this vision for where she wanted to go. And then her next sentence was, but the woman who's held that position has been in that position for, umpteenth number of years. It's never going to happen. She was talking herself out of it. And I said, you never know what's in store for you around the corner. Your job is to get clear on the vision that you have. And so she did that, and crazy things started happening, Karyl. Like 6 weeks after she started doing this vision board activity in the gratitude journal, she got recognized with an award. Within a year, they reorged the department, and that same director of diversity moved to a total different part of the company, and she became the director of diversity. Then a few years later, she became the executive director of diversity, a position that didn't even exist prior to her having it. And now she's the chief diversity officer. She's a VP in this organization in 7 short years from being an entry-level HR person. But she turned up the volume on who she was. She got clear. And what I love about her is that she said, I thought it was everybody else, Mimi, that had the issue. I had to look internally. And to figure out who I was. And she is just a beautiful human being who has blossomed. And I think of her as one of my close friends.
I love that. And the thing is, too, is that people don't realize is that the things that make us different and unique, the things that sometimes we're scared to let other people see, are what other people need.
Correct.
Right?
And I had that same experience. So I tell a story in my my Own Your Swag keynote about a boss that I had that I was teaching leadership development. And I went into his office, Karyl, and I said, I'm ready for my next step. I'm ready to be a leader. And he said, oh, Mimi, you're not ready. You're too much. And I was like, too much? And I remember having a conversation with Chris, Karyl, so my mentor. And I said, Karyl, I said, Chris, you were there too, I swear. In the backseat. I was in the car. But I said to her, how do I tone it down? And she said, oh, Mimi, baby, you don't tone it down. You turn it up. Maybe Bill just can't see your greatness. And it's interesting because Bill and I were seeing things from different perspectives. And I won't villainize him because he wasn't a villain. He just was a pivotal catalyst in my story. But he didn't see me in that way, but doesn't mean that I wasn't ready. Right. Yeah.
And sometimes, this is a bias thing too, right? The people that have known us and have watched us grow up think of us in the way that they originally met us.
Yeah, and that lens.
Right? Yeah, that lens. Sometimes it's so funny because my family jokes around because I've been friends with the same high school group since high school, right? That's been very many years. And then I have another group of people that I've been friends with since the kids played hockey. And my family said the way that you all interact, the high school friends, the way you guys interact is very different from the other way because we still see each other as 15-year-old girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Braiding each other's hair.
Yeah. Well, seriously, but it's that interaction. And I think too, when somebody sees you as an entry-level position, it sometimes is hard for them to see the growth because it's just part of their norm.
Well, and it's so interesting, Karyl. Right until this moment, it didn't dawn on me. My former manager had never even seen me deliver a leadership session. He didn't even know what I was capable of. He supervised me. He got placed into that role right before retirement. So he was a little disgruntled, like I'm on my way out. But he had mentored me from the time, because at this company, I started in a call center. And he, would encourage me, but he never actually saw me do my thing. So he never got a chance to even open his lens up. And it's interesting too. So I talk about this in the book, but Justin Patton, who is a good speaker colleague of mine and also CEO of known as a trust architect. And he says, people see glimpses of you. And so that glimpse in that moment is your chance to shine. And what are you looking like in that glimpse? Are you giving them a chance to really see you?
Oh my God. You know how much I love this, because this is why we do what we do here at the Visibility Room, is because people have got to be seen. You have to have the visibility piece so that those people get to watch you in different capacities and in different ways that they may not be used to seeing you.
And you get to tell
They
your
don't know.
narrative.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you're really big about showing up on LinkedIn and having
Yeah.
a presence there. And I just want to thank you because that's made a difference in my career.
Yeah.
I've gotten speaking engagements simply because I posted about another engagement I was delivering and someone was like, well, she's good enough for them. She's good enough for us.
Exactly.
But it's interesting. I've had a couple friends and family members recently look for jobs. And the very first question I asked them is, what does your LinkedIn profile look like?
Yeah.
And I remember one person in particular who might be a little disgruntled and not as tech savvy. I don't need LinkedIn. And I was like, no, you absolutely need it.
Yeah.
And I've actually talked to several recruiters who say after they get a resume that comes in or application, that's the first place they go. And if you don't have
Absolutely.
any presence there, they don't even consider
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because we don't have time. We're doing our due diligence, we're vetting, and we want it to be quick, and we want to see what we need to see.
Well, yeah, and you get to give the world the narrative of who you are, right?
Absolutely.
Why let someone else control that when you can control that narrative?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mimi, we've got to wrap it up, and
Okay.
you and I joked about how long we could talk, but we've got the magic bowl. my
Ooh,
friend.
the magic bowl.
Yes.
I like magic.
So, reach in here and pull out something.
All right, I got
All
something.
right. Now you may not be able to read it because I have chicken scratch
That's
for
okay.
handwriting. So I'll
Do
take
you-
the
okay,
I'll
you're
take
gonna-
the pressure
okay.
off of you. Oh, what's a lesson you learned the hard way?
Whoo, how much time we got, Karyl? Lesson that I learned the hard way. I would have to say, it's actually been in speaking.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had to do all these crazy marketing tricks to get a gig and to be the person that's chosen. Actually, the very best marketing is a really great speech. And so I spent a lot of money and a lot of time investing in gurus who were branding me when all I needed to be was myself.
Yeah.
And that's what people hired me for.
And hence the name of the book.
There you go. Lead
There
a
you
full
go.
volume.
Well, the book will be out soon.
Yes.
We don't have a specific date.
Nope, but it'll be out very soon.
Very soon.
Yes.
And we are excited because we are going to help you with a launch party here at the Visibility Room.
Very
So,
excited about that.
Yeah,
And
so-
let me say this part because we did not mention this
Yes.
in the episode. Yours truly is actually featured in the book. And I just love, Karyl, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's this part of the beat is about appearance. And, that's part of the visibility part and the presence piece. But when you shared your story, in order for you to get Karyl's story, you have to get the book. But it was such an important moment for me because it reinforced some of the other lessons I've learned. Like Sylvia Hewlett wrote a book called Executive Presence. And she says, most people determine your credibility within 250 milliseconds simply by what you're wearing.
Absolutely.
And and I think we just undercut that, like how you really, how the way you show up and the way you dress. And not that it's a vain thing or anything, but it adds to your credibility and your visibility.
Absolutely. Dress for the goals that you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your
You're
story.
welcome.
Yes.
Well, Mimi, I adore you, and I'm so excited for everything that has happened and is about to happen for you. And thank you so much for visiting us and being in the room.
Thank you.
You're welcome.